impressive, but I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you.
This is gonna come from.
See, I've been leveling up this whole time.
Rise of Solo Leveling has been nothing short of astonishing. In just a few months, it has shattered expectations, officially surpassing One Piece as Crunchyroll's highest rated anime, with over 590,000 total ratings. And the craziest part, Solo Leveling isn't making waves for some outrageous reason. No massive controversy, no overhyped marketing gimmick, it's just simply that good. But why? What makes Solo Leveling stand out in an industry overflowing with anime that try and fail to capture that same success? Well, for one, it's not your typical shonen anime. One of the biggest reasons Solo Leveling is winning is because it doesn't follow the standard shonen blueprint. This isn't a story about the power of friendship or the protagonist finding himself through endless hardship. There's no grand journey of self-discovery or tight-knit crew of side characters that carry the main character forward. Instead, the anime does something incredibly simple, yet highly effective. It focuses entirely on progression. The raw, unfiltered, addictive progression of one man's rise to absolute power. And let's be honest, we all love it. The constant aura farming, the loner persona, it all feeds into the audience's want for a nonchalant, overpowered character. Jin-Woo isn't just some naive, kind-hearted kid who wants to be the world's greatest hero. He starts off as weak and completely powerless, but when given the chance to climb out of rock bottom, he does so with such efficiency. No unnecessary distractions, no cheesy Nakama moments, just one man, one system, and a never-ending drive to evolve. But here's the real catch. Solo Leveling doesn't just make Jin-Woo powerful, it makes us feel it too. Every time he levels up, when he gets a new ability, when he annihilates an opponent that once destroyed him, it scratches that same itch as grinding in a video game and finally hitting that max level. It's why the system itself is such a genius storytelling tool. It's not just there for exposition, it's part of the thrill. We're just as addicted to watching the numbers go up as Jin-Woo is making them rise. And every stat increase, every new skill, every evolution feels somewhat earned. And that's what makes it so satisfying. And the best part, the enemies aren't just stepping stones as I once thought. They remind us of how far he's come. I mean, think about it. At the start, Jin-Woo was running for his life, barely scraping by, weaker than even the lowest ranked hunters. A dungeon boss was something he had no choice but to run from. But by the time he reaches his peak, he's out here casually walking into S-rank gates alone, flexing on entire guilds, and making creatures that once terrified him beg for mercy. It's that stark contrast, the intense before and after, that makes every moment feel earned. And that's why every fight is more than just a fight. It's a statement, which is also why Jin-Woo doesn't just win, he dominates. That's what makes him different from the usual overpowered protagonist. He's not some lucky chosen one with a divine destiny. He's not handed everything on a silver platter. He starts at the very bottom. So when he finally reaches the top, it feels like we climbed there with him. And that's exactly why Solo Leveling is winning right now. It taps into something every anime fan craves. A protagonist who doesn't waste time, doesn't play by the rules, and doesn't need anyone else to succeed. Just one man, one system, and an unstoppable rise to the top. And that's the kind of power fantasy we'll never get tired of. It's been a breath of fresh air in a stale genre. For years, anime fans have been drowning in generic isekais, copy and paste protagonists. You know the formula. Guy dies, gets reincarnated in a fantasy world, overpowered from the start, no real struggle, builds a harem, and fan service takes priority over the story. It's the same rinse and repeat cycle that has made the genre feel soulless. Solo Leveling is different. Yes, it follows the overpowered protagonist formula, but instead of giving us a hero who immediately dominates, it makes us earn it. Although it came a lot sooner than we would have thought, we still see Jin-Woo suffer. We see him claw his way to power, and most importantly, we see him change. From the timid, bottom-tier hunter that everyone looked down on, to an absolute monster that even the strongest warriors fear to challenge. It's pure, undiluted power fantasy, but done right. Because Solo Leveling understands something that so many modern anime forget. Power isn't exciting when it's handed to you. Power is exciting when you have to fight for it. And that's exactly why Solo Leveling isn't just another anime and has risen to the top. It's not a one-time hype train fueled by over-marketing or controversy. It's not something people are watching just because it's trending. Solo Leveling is a kind of series that grabs you and doesn't let you go. Because at its core, it delivers something that many anime fans have been asking for. A protagonist who doesn't hesitate, a story that doesn't drag, and a power fantasy that actually feels meaningful. I mean, I talked about how Jin-Woo was way too strong in my previous video, but I now realize that there was a lot of things I didn't account for, thanks to some of the people who have actually finished the manhwa. They made me realize Jin-Woo may breeze through most of his enemies, but he still does utilize everything he has in his arsenal to do so. I wanted him to be much weaker, and it takes longer for him to get to the level he is at now, but that would take away most of the hype that the show is best known for. It would make his story feel more like a typical shonen, which is not what the author was aiming to do. Plus, this last episode had some crazy addition to the plot. So with the national hunters being introduced and these other so-called monarchs, it made the series 10 times more compelling than ever. Because my only critique so far, which was ever so slight, is that he felt way too overpowered and that it went from a grind to a slaughterfest, but I now understand the true meaning behind it. This was only a setup for what has yet to come and was a small fish in a big pond moment. And let's not forget, this isn't just an anime success story. This series has been breaking records since day one. The web novel was a cultural juggernaut. The webtoon was a worldwide phenomenon that redefined what manhwa could be, and now the anime is doing the exact same thing. The animation is crisp, the soundtrack is cinematic, and the fight scenes hit with the kind of weight and intensity that so many modern anime lack. It all feels impactful because it's not just about the flashy effects, it's about the momentum. Solo Leveling knows that battles aren't just spectacles, they're statements. Jin-Woo's every movement tells a different story, whether it's a story of struggle, a story of survival, or a story of becoming something more. And that's the difference. That's why this series keeps dominating the charts. Because it's not just about Jin-Woo's rise, it's about making us feel every step of the way. And that's why every single episode leaves you wanting more, and why the fans aren't just watching, they're invested. And that's why Solo Leveling isn't just another anime of the season, it's an industry game changer. In fact, this might be just the beginning of a new era for anime adaptations. For years, manhwa fans have been waiting, begging for proper adaptations of their favorite series, and more often than not, they've been let down. Either the animation studios fumble for the execution, or the series gets completely overlooked in favor of another isekai. But Solo Leveling has a chance to break that cycle. It proved that manhwa adaptations can thrive, and that they can stand against Japan's biggest anime franchise. And with the success, it's only a matter of time before studios start taking on more of these. I mean, imagine the possibility. Tower of God finally getting the adaptation it deserves. The beginning after the end getting its own anime debut that gets the Solo Leveling treatment. We could be looking at a new wave of anime dominance with Solo Leveling leading the charge. And it's not just anime fans taking notice. Live action adaptations, merchandise, bigger collaborations. The industry has seen the numbers and they're massive. The demand is too strong to ignore. Video games like Fortnite are consistently collabing with them. Roblox creators are creating hundreds of thousands of games that are inspired by anime. The sky's the limit with this. So here's the real question. Is this just the rise of Solo Leveling, or the rise of something even bigger? But either way, one thing is clear. Jin-Woo has helped level up the entire anime industry, and we're only at the start of what Solo Leveling can achieve. Right now, it's the highest rated anime on Crunchyroll, but where does it go from here? If season 1 is this successful, imagine the hype when we get into the bigger battles, the stronger enemies, and the insane plot twists. If merch sales are already booming, what happens when AAA game studios start investing in a proper Solo Leveling experience? And if manhwa adaptations are finally being taken seriously, will we see a full wave of high quality productions following in its footsteps? Well, one thing is for sure, Solo Leveling isn't just another anime, it's the anime, and the industry will hopefully never be the same.